guest. He's the promise of the afterlife in Christmas. Pastor John Burke examined about 1,000 stories of near-death experiences. Joining me now, Pastor John Burke of the Gateway Church in Austin, Texas. He is the author of the book, Imagine Heaven. Welcome to you tonight.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
So what is it that you analyzed 1,000 near-death experiences. What did you find?
Well, it's fascinating because, you know, the hope that is Christmas, that we look for in Christmas, I believe really God's greatest gift that he gave at Christmas was the hope of heaven. And what I found is really hard-hitting evidence that this hope is real, that it's not just a pipe dream, that there is something coming after this where finally there really will be peace and the joy that, that we hear promised, but gosh, we look around the world and there isn't much.
So from talking to these people, what did they say that heaven looks like?
Well, so what I do is I put together the commonalities and show how it really reveals the heaven of the Bible, but they talk about it in very pragmatic terms. Like they talk about how alive they feel, not just with 5 senses, but more like with 50 senses. And they say when they come back to this earth, it feels like that's the real life, and this one is more like the shadow. They experience beauty, flowers and trees and mountains and grass, but really like of another dimension.
Well, John, your story is such an important one, and I'm sorry, I just want to get your story in here because you weren't always a believer. You didn't always believe in God. You weren't always Christian. That happened.
Yeah, I was skeptical.
At a moment in your life, and then you have taken this all on. And you have amazing words for those that do suffer grief during the holiday season, because it is difficult for a lot of people who miss loved ones that have passed. Your advice to them?
Yeah, I mean, I was an engineer. I was skeptical of all this. And what I saw through this is really hard-hitting evidence that life continues on. In fact, another commonality is this great reunion that people experience. My mom passed away this year. And you know, when you're missing loved ones in the holidays, the real hope is that we're going to be united again, that there is hope for that. And that's God's promise of Christmas, hope for life eternally for all who want it.
Pastor John Burke, thank you for joining us tonight, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me on.
We'll be right back.